Guys, today's a sad day. Tesla, unfortunately, was not included into the S&P 500. After the market closed on Friday, we got an announcement of the new companies that were going to be added to the S&P 500, and many investors were expecting Tesla to make that list. Unfortunately for Tesla bulls, Tesla was not included. They're not part of the S&P 500. So what does this mean? Is the stock now going to crash? Will they ever be included in the S&P 500? What reasoning was given for them not being included this time around? And I guess out of curiosity, what companies were in fact added instead of Tesla? So let's discuss all of this in today's video, and if you guys enjoy it, just hit that like button down below and don't forget to subscribe to join our community. Tesla today sits at a $389 billion market cap, so it's not a small company by any means and is in fact one of the largest companies in the entire world that is publicly traded. For context, here's a list of the top S&P 500 companies sorted by market cap, and we can see that some of the most well-recognized companies in the world is on this list. Of course, you have Apple topping the list, but then you have other familiar names, Facebook, Walmart, Visa, and many more companies that are on here. Even Salesforce, which recently got added to the Dow, is part of the top S&P 500 companies here, as you can see. Now for reference, I've drawn a line to show you where Tesla would fit if it was included into the S&P 500, and you can see it ranks pretty well here with these other businesses, sitting right in between Johnson & Johnson and Procter & Gamble, two well-known, stable blue-chip companies. Also for reference, just a few days ago, Tesla was pushing a $450 billion market cap, and with that, it would have easily cleared the top 10 list. So all I'm trying to say here and trying to get across to you guys is that Tesla is one of the largest companies in the world, and it's quite silly in my opinion that they aren't part of the S&P 500 yet. Well, after market close on Friday, we got the official announcement. There were lots of rumors floating around for the last few months whether Tesla would be included or not, and I will say this, most investors were bullish on the fact that they would be included, but unfortunately the announcement said otherwise. This may be a good lesson for investors who are like, you know what, there's no way Tesla cannot be included. There's no way that Tesla will not be part of the S&P 500. I saw tons of comments like that, and this may be a reality check that things don't always go as it seems. And well, if you were investing in Tesla stock for this reason alone, just for the inclusion in the S&P 500, then clearly that did not happen, the reasoning did not work out, and it's time to sell. After the announcement, Tesla stock took a nosedive, dropping 6.41% to close trading in the after-hours session before the long weekend. The S&P indices senior index analyst Howard Silverblatt declined to say why Tesla was not added to the S&P 500, so we don't really know a clear reason yet as to why it was excluded. Now, I was really curious as to why Tesla was not included here, because from everything that we've seen before, they met the requirements. So I went up and I digged up an official brochure from the S&P 500, and in there they outlined the actual requirements that they look for the S&P 500 inclusion. It says for a company to be eligible for the S&P 500 index inclusion, they should be a US company, Tesla is, have a market cap of at least USD $8.2 billion. Tesla is near $400 billion, so that's not a concern. It needs to be highly liquid. Tesla is. It needs to have a public float of at least 50% of its shares outstanding. Tesla's, I believe, is around 80% or so no issues there. And its most recent quarter's earnings and the sum of its trailing 4 consecutive quarters' earnings must be positive. And once again, Tesla achieved this. Now, a big reason why I feel, purely my opinion, as to why Tesla may have not been included here is because it's still too early to see if this profitability continues in the upcoming quarters. Yes, Tesla hit profitability for the last 4 quarters, so they met that requirement, but will they be profitable for the next 4 quarters? That's still up in the air, and a lot of Tesla bears will say otherwise. So maybe what the S&P team here is thinking is, you know what, we'll just wait for a couple more quarters, make sure that they are consistently profitable and it wasn't just a fluke that they were profitable the last 4 quarters. And if they can show consistent profitability in the coming months and quarters, then there's no reason really not to have Tesla as part of the index. So what does this all mean now for Tesla Tesla stock and I guess Tesla shareholders? Well, a lot of institutions and investors that were buying Tesla for this reason alone, for the inclusion in the S&P 500, are now selling out of their positions because that did not happen. That was their sole reason, their thesis for buying into the stock, because, when a company is added to the S&P 500, typically you'll see funds buy up that stock as well, and it pushes prices higher. So that's probably the bet that they were playing, and that bet, unfortunately, this time around did not work out. So a lot of them will probably be selling, as we saw, quick glimpse really, in the after hours session. And sure, you could argue and say that, maybe they didn't include it this time around, but next time around there's a higher chance they will. And yeah, that's possible, but if your sole thesis was for them to be included this time around, then clearly that did not work out in this case, and selling would make sense because that was the play that you made. Also keep in mind that if it happens in the future, it does not mean the Tesla stock is going to be around these levels still. It's quite possible that we see a pretty big decline in Tesla stock over the coming months, and then if they make an announcement, we could see a recovery in the stock, but that doesn't really mean there's going to be a lot of upside if you're holding strong at today's prices. On the plus side, Tesla has their battery day coming up at the end of the month, so who knows what happens here. Maybe Musk has something up his sleeve to excite investors once again, but I think it's about time we cool off a bit here in Tesla and come back to some more reasonable valuations for the short term. So because Tesla wasn't included, it means that other companies were included. So let's take a look at those companies. The three companies added to the coveted S&P 500 were Etsy, Teradyne, and Catalent. And here's a funny stat. All three of these companies combined totals a market cap of around $40 billion, which is only 10% of the market cap of Tesla. But either way, these changes will take effect and be reflected in the S&P starting September 21st, and we can already see these stocks starting to react on the news. Etsy has the biggest reaction here, jumping 5.7% after hours on the news. Teradyne was up 1.72%, and Catalent was up 1.07%, so they all saw a positive reaction. On the flip side, the three companies that were kicked out of the S&P included H&R Block, Coty, and Kohl's. H&R didn't really react much to the news. Maybe investors were already expecting this based on price movement. Coty, or Cotai, maybe pronouncing that incorrectly, was down 1.55%, so a bit of a steeper drop here. And Kohl's was down nearly 0.5%. So again, not too much movement. Probably expect to be kicked out from the S&P by investors, so it wasn't a big surprise. So all in all, unfortunately, it was a sad day for Tesla bulls like myself, Tesla investors like yourself perhaps. But all hope is not lost, guys. The S&P 500 inclusion is inevitable if they continue with their profitability. There's really no reason why it can't be an S&P 500 company, especially considering its size and its growth and everything like that. So it is coming sooner or later, in my opinion. But we're just going to be pushed out a few months out because there's some uncertainty, I guess, in the short term. I've also heard some rumors of, Tesla doesn't have enough shares for all of the indexes to buy in if they were included in the S&P 500, and I don't know if that's true or not. There's just pure rumors that I've heard. So maybe Tesla dilutes some shares, they issue more shares out there to fix that issue if that is the case. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's just something that I wanted to share with you that I have seen being thrown around on forums and videos and comments as well. But either way, all in all, this was a sad day for Tesla investors, but let's look at the bright side. Tesla is still an incredible company, whether it's an S&P 500 or not, and I'm still a massive Tesla bull for the long term. Now, if you want to see a more in-depth analysis of Tesla's stock, the chart specifically, and where I see the stock moving in the short term, then make sure to check out the video. I'll link in the description down below where I kind of cover it. We look at the charts, and I kind of give my prediction as to where I think Tesla could move over the next few weeks and months. Either way, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to invest positively, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.